All right, we ready? Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Maureen Carlson, and I am really excited to talk today with my colleagues Paul and Trad, who have joined us about this. This must be an important topic to people because we have a lot of people who registered today, and hopefully you all are all coming in and we'll kick it off slowly so you can join the content. My name's Maureen Carlson. I'm a president and co-founder of System Surveyor. Hopefully I've met a lot of you along the way at ISC West and GSX and different events or just out in the field. Proud to be part of the team here. And I lead up go-to-marketing, sales and operations team. And you've met a lot of the team. I'm going to pass it over to Trad Kendrick, and he'll tell you a little bit about himself.
Yeah, thanks, Maureen. Yes, my name's Trad, and I get to focus on our strategic accounts and partnerships. And with partnerships, that's manufacturer partners and now integration partners. I've been here for almost 4 years at this point, which is kind of crazy to say, and been in the industry for almost six. Looking forward just talking to everyone about what I get to hear kind of on a day-to-day basis from our customers and hearing from you guys on the challenges that you're facing. I'll let Paul go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Trad. Thanks, Maureen. My name is Paul Kurz. I am support engineer. I am head of the support team here at System Surveyor, helping out customers, and also with the implementation and customer considerations and things like that. I've been at System Surveyor 5 years in November, so been through a lot of different changes here. And it's good to be here with everybody.
Great. Thanks, you guys. I realize a lot of our team do webinars all the time. I'm excited to do this one because it's been a minute since I have. We forgot to do music. Here we are kicking off summer.
Oh
Next time we'll
yeah.
do that. We're really big about, a lot of our meetings here, we start with music. So gosh, we'll note that for next time. But I hope everybody's off to a great summer. What we're going to talk about today is yeah, to me, I'm really excited about this sort of like this next milestone with the company and with what's going on with our customers using the platform is kind of the practical, well, we want to go from problem to solution. There's a lot of dual entry of data still, and it's time to crack that code. And we're going to talk about how that comes off up, in eight, nine, out of 10 meetings that we have with, and we already have customers who are starting to integrate software platforms. And so an exciting time. We're going to talk about our integration marketplace. We've had an API for a while. Trad will talk about that, but what it means to have an integration marketplace and why it improves the time to market for integrating your most important business applications. We're actually going to show you some live activity right within product. We're going to do a demo of what we've done with NetSuite, Oracle's NetSuite for ERP with a customer. It's available in the marketplace now. But we're also going to talk to you about, just because it's not in the marketplace right now doesn't mean you couldn't get started and start building one and making it a lot easier to do. So we're going to actually show you a little bit about how that works. And then, what it takes to get started. I can't have a conversation without talking about AI, and we'll talk about how this, sets you up to leverage that as well. And then we'll do a Q&A and just a little housekeeping. Keep you can put questions at any time in the little Q&A box. That's our preference to put it there. If you put it to chat, we'll get it too. Or if it's just a comment or something you want to share with the broader community, if we have time, we'll take them. We may not get to everyone. And if we don't, we will get with you offline one-on-one and make sure we get the answers to you. So we endeavor to do that. But let me tell you a little bit about, I'm going to keep it kind of macro and then these guys will dig in. First of all, before I talk about the same job getting entered, where do we sit in this whole picture? And this is one of our CEO, Chris Hugman's favorite pictures is that, and I don't mean to make it too complicated, but at the center of the universe, we got a little bit of system surveyor. Of course, we like to see it there. But I think that we're really, truly doing this and helping the industry. And we've seen exciting collaboration things happen. Of course, I was looking at the attendee list before this, and there's a lot of system integrators. That's one of our primary customers, right? Who do it for pre-sales and post-sales. So you see the blue circle with integrators. You've got technology managers. I am working like 4 or 5 MSAs right now with Fortune 500 companies. So, and by the way, it's so that they can collaborate with their integrator. Isn't that exciting? So the global physical security manager at a place with, hundreds, if not thousands of locations and dozens and thousands of devices, they're trying to figure out how I'm going to have a digital as built for that. And then you've got, of course, the manufacturer community. We'll talk about our strategy in the market. Manufacturers are a really important part of that ecosystem because that's what you guys are selling and getting to the technology manager. And so every single day, people are sharing System Surveyor in unique ways so that they can visualize together, put together a bill of materials, and go from design over to delivery. So, but what we are seeing a little bit, this is probably not uncommon as software and AI continue to go forward, is that there's sometimes some duplicate data entry that can create some rework or errors. So we've already made things a digital system design. Now it's about connecting your business applications together so that we make this even more streamlined. So I'm excited about that. Um, when Chris and I, Chris is really our founder, right? He came up with this idea and he is the entrepreneur and innovator. I kind of come from the software industry. And I know one thing coming from software, 30 years in Austin, Texas now, is being an open platform is a very powerful thing. And so I'm going to talk about 4 ways we're open real quick, because I think this is a big differentiator about System Surveyor and why a lot of people select to work with us. We first of all, work across a lot of different system types: video surveillance, access control, intrusion detection, IT, fire. It goes on, right? But we were built for primarily physical security, some AV and things that the MSP cares about. But we're open to a lot of system types. It's not just about video surveillance. That's a really hot one, right? But a true system is made up of a lot of different system types and how they interact together. The next one to the right is being open to brands. I love how this lights up. We are manufacturer independent. We're not owned by a manufacturer. We are open catalog. You can put your element profiles into System Surveyor from any brand in the world. We're also open to collaboration. It's probably just kind of one of the visions that Chris had, was to be able to invite a guest user. And so rather than sending a good old PDF via email that has completely lost all the metadata and any interaction, we're open to truly collaborating amongst all those people we just talked about a moment ago. And this fourth one we'll talk about today is one I'm really passionate about, coming from the software industry, is being open to API integrations. We've had an API for a little while, but we're going to talk about really moving this forward now and showing you how you can do those integrations a lot more easily. So those are our 4 pillars. I hope they make sense to you, and I hope they trigger a little bit of, again, why this is a unique platform. So I'm going to pass the baton over, the soccer ball or whatever, over to Trad, and he can talk about why this matters in practice.
Yeah, thanks, Maureen. So with where I sit, I get the really fortunate opportunity, and Paul too, on support, right, to interact with our customers. And what we've really summarized here is, why did we pretty much create the integration marketplace? What were we hearing from customer challenges? And by far and away, the number one thing we heard is that slower proposals resulting from separate systems hurt business. They hurt win rates, they hurt operations, they hurt scaling. And that's a kind of a core tenet of why System Surveyor was created. But again, with all the tools that are popping up these days, we heard that proposals will still get stuck in different systems. Now, the second thing that I heard a lot of times from kind of the day-to-day users, we'll call them your ops guys or sales guys, is that data they were either getting to gather or were getting fed downstream wasn't matching up, or even when it did match up, they had to do 2, 3, 4 checks to make sure that it was accurate. So again, these are some of the kind of like macro topics we were hearing when we're thinking on how do we help customers. And I think Maureen mentioned this at the beginning, but guys, we're going on being around for over 10 years at this point. We've been able to do that because we're built off of customer feedback. I think Paul, Maureen, I, and a bunch of the team sit in Slack channel where we review customer feedback and meet on it weekly, talk about what updates and fixes we're going to make. So I'll move to the third item here. This came from a lot of the kind of sales leadership positions that I would talk to, and even operations leadership at some of our higher ed. Reporting being in multiple places is great, but I actually heard from one sales leader that they have so many different tools now. He has to go back to doing things the old-fashioned way with pen and paper and an Excel sheet to check that his different systems match. I'm sure a lot of you have been there too, but he was like, it almost put me back to the Stone Ages. Now I just have four different softwares I get to look at to make sure that opportunity values are correct, to make sure that pipeline's correct, to make sure that project delivery dates are correct. And that's a real problem. And then the last item here, and we'll touch on this a little bit more in the end, is what we've really spent a lot of time thinking on is how do we position our customers to leverage AI in the best way possible? Put a lot of time and effort into this. And what we kept coming back to is that AI is only as good as what it can see. Doesn't matter if it can't see in one system, it's making a decision off of another. We all know the dangers of that. So we'll talk more about that in a bit, but we're trying to lay the foundation for everybody to really leverage AI as we all move into that next phase of software. So what we have here is a lot of what Paul and I and some of our support and sales team, are just more of the kind of micro questions and objectives that we would hear about on a daily basis. By far and away, I would hear, I already have a bill of materials in this system. It's there, it's automatic, it's fantastic. How do I get it into my ERP for inventory ordering? How do I get it to my CRM to populate the opportunity? We've been pushing for that for a long time. We're really, really excited to show you what that looks like today. The next thing that we heard often, and selfishly, guys, working on the partnership side with manufacturers, I'm really excited about this because we've always done a lot of work to make product catalogs available. And a lot of you build up your own, right? You have to maintain it for inventory, for a number of things. Now that's bidirectional, can go both ways. You can populate your own automatically. We're going to talk about some of that. But the last two things down here at the bottom, on that kind of fourth bullet, we've heard this for years, right? Everyone asks the question, how do I not have to enter data over and over and over? The last thing you want to do when you go walk a site, maybe you're opening up a new property, you have to go walk that for, maybe 2 hours, maybe six, is go home that night, put the same number, same inventory counts in two different systems. It's a time killer and it hurts businesses. Paul, Maureen, anything you would add?
I don't think so. I think you hit it over the head. We talk a lot about the ROI of System Surveyor, which is always already, I think, very significant for people. The next question is, how can I even streamline this process a little bit further? So we're excited about that. I think you hit it.
So I want to kind of paint a picture for everyone, right? We've had our API open and available for 2 years now. Maureen talked about that being a really core tenet of System Surveyor. You've had access to that. You've been able to build off of it. And it's probably taken resources, some technical expertise, and some time to do that. The integration marketplace is our next phase, our next iteration of keeping that same availability, that same openness, and making it much more accessible. So think of the old API. You have a bit of a wrapper around it. And what that wrapper has done is surface the important parts that you need. We'll call them building blocks, right? But they're endpoints, their SKUs, their accounts, things like that, and surface them to the very top of where you need them to be and make them easily accessible to grab, build off of, and put into your workflows. I'll let Paul go ahead. I think he's got something a little bit more in depth for us.
Yeah, thanks, Trad. Yeah, just a little bit about, like Trad said, our iPaaS, which is Prismatic, is what we use. iPaaS stands for Integration Platform as a Service. You've heard of software as a service, similar concept there. And like Trad said as well, it basically acts as a wrapper. It wraps around our System Surveyor API and connects to other platforms that use it in using their integration marketplace, things like Salesforce, Dynamics, even OpenAI, like ChatGPT and things like that. And it just allows it basically facilitates those connections. Makes it a lot easier for customers to look at. Just to go over a little bit about what our kind of what Trad said too, our previous API and what Maureen said also, with custom APIs, they were very developer heavy. They require tailoring specifically to the integration platform you want to do. So if I wanted to do it to Salesforce, I would have had to do, spend all this time on just to Salesforce. So I couldn't do it also to, NetSuite. I would have to make a whole new one to NetSuite. And so that takes a lot more time. It's harder to repeat, like I said there, and it would result in longer scope cycles. So that sort of, would take a long time to implement. With our new integration marketplace here, we now have configurable workflows facilitated by Prismatic, and it's going to be a low code or no code foundation. So you could get into a little bit more into the nitty gritty if you really enjoy that kind of thing. But there's also lots of templates and things like that you can apply to those or create those very easily. And so the connectors themselves do all the heavy lifting, and they're reusable. So you could copy and paste and plug and play almost. for depending on the platform you want to do. So you don't have to spend all that time customizing for certain specific ones. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually jump out of the slide here, and I'm going to show you a couple things. First, I wanted to show you kind of the a little bit about what the Prismatic Marketplace. So, Maureen or Trad, can you guys tell me if you see the
Yep,
web
you're
page?
good.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. So here is this is just showing kind of the connectors. So there's a lot of different categories here. System Surveyor's in here, but just to show you the CRM, there's like Salesforce, HubSpot. We use HubSpot, in-house, so that's really important for us to have that. But these are all the sort of connectors that that are available in the marketplace. I wanted to hop into actual System Surveyor platform here. So this is live in our platform here using our enterprise account. So on the left here, you'll see there's an integrations drop down. I just wanted to show you kind of the workflow here. So let me go back a step. So here's all the workflows. You can create your new workflow up here. I wanted to show you just kind of one that I was working on earlier. So this is the idea behind this one is it's going to be every new site it runs on a weekly basis, daily basis. Every new site gets converted into a digestible data format for whatever the integration is. So if I wanted to say have a new site that gets created and it goes and creates a new opportunity in Salesforce, I could do that. So I'll go ahead and click this step here, add a step, and I can search for Salesforce. So you'll see Salesforce, but Dynamics comes up as well. So you basically will choose your platform here. So I'll click Salesforce and then just search for opportunity. Creates an opportunity. So once I click that, that's the next step in there as well. And then so that will, as it runs, it'll send that information and create it in Salesforce. And it's versatile. You can do things like updating and things like that as well. So just to show you kind of what that looks like. And like I said, this is live in our system. So it's all done through System Surveyor.
Hey, Paul, can I make a couple comments there? Just
Yeah,
we're going to make it a
absolutely.
little. First of all, whoa, you guys, stop, check this out. This is exciting. So the only reason we showed Prismatic is that marketplace there is coming up through Prismatic. You don't have to buy anything through Prismatic. Just want to be clear about that. You're buying right now. We offer this on our enterprise plan, but if you're on scale, we should talk because we're going to find a way to make that work for you. Eventually, we would probably have this available on scale, but that's how it works. The reason we wanted to show you Prismatic is they've done a ton of these connectors. So back to, I'm talking in my ultra layman's terms, they've surfaced, Salesforce connector, and now you have a System Surveyor connector. So imagine like a puzzle piece, and here you're seeing it. And so it has a really nice visualization to start making that integration happen. So hopefully I just want to make that connection on Prismatic's helping us power this. We didn't want to write all that application. It wouldn't really make sense for us to do all that, but it's really elevating that ability to build those workflows. So you're doing great. Paul, I'll put it back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Maureen. And yeah, I wanted to also show just kind of our the integration with NetSuite that we built out, and this is going to show kind of the bidirectional flow from System Surveyor into NetSuite and from NetSuite into System Surveyor. So I'll go ahead and pull this up here, and I'll just talk over the presentation here a little bit. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be basically creating element profiles in System Surveyor based off of the information that we have in NetSuite. So it's going to be flowing from NetSuite into System Surveyor. We're going to be doing a server element today. There's documentation based on how it's going to query that, which is all pretty easy to follow. But basically what you'll do is you're adding your element. On the left is the System Surveyor element, so server. On the right is it's going to be searching for anything containing ACP server in that display name column. And so it's going to basically hook onto all of those. And then it's also going to, you're going to choose your syncing. So that's also really important that it's like kind of hands off when you do this. You set it up to sync periodically and then, set it and forget it. It'll do that every day, hour, custom, you can set it up the way that you want to do. And then you're just adding your attribute maps there. So it's going to say, okay, descriptive label, which is the System Surveyor attribute. It's going to take the display name from NetSuite, and it's going to apply that to the descriptive label and to the element profile name here as well. We're going to show that in a little bit. I think I'm talking a little fast on that. So yeah, so it's matching up there. You're basically telling it, this is what I want it to look like in System Surveyor based off of NetSuite. And you'll see there it goes in the descriptive label and the element profile. And then the next step there is just simply going to make sure that it works. It's going to say, hey, there's no errors, finish. And now as soon as you click finish, it's going to start the first sync process. So it'll sync those elements over there. So if you do go to the element profile, you're going to see that you got the servers in there and they're going to be populated in your dropdown. All of that information in there. The next is going to be the other way. So going from System Surveyor into NetSuite, we're going to do a bill of materials export. So we're going to get that information from our site. So if you go to the site level, you'll have a run integration button. That's going to be used also for anything that you create as well. You'll put in your NetSuite opportunity number and you'll select the survey that you want to pull that bill of materials in. And you have all the same options you do for reports like filtering and things like that. So if you want to, customize it that way, you can do that. You'll click on run, and then it's going to send that information into NetSuite based on that opportunity ID. And then it's going to have your amount, all the description and the items and things like that in there. So that is, just wanted to show that little built-in. We have that, it's a pre-built, but that's kind of the idea behind the flow of it here. So I'll pop back over to our slideshow, move on here.
So before you go forward to pass that back over to Trad, so let's just think about that. So now you wouldn't have to even do as much work with the NetSuite integration nor with HubSpot. We've already worked on that. We actually did a deep work with a customer on NetSuite as we were working through that one. So that is out into the marketplace. So anyone can take that. Of course, you might have a little bit to your own workflow, but it is available if you're on Enterprise with System Surveyor. And the idea with the marketplace is we start really building these out. And you're going to see, you saw with the workflow, remember, Prismatic connectors already out there. That should take you, I almost kind of think like we're already on I'm a terrible football person, like I'm past the 50-yard line. And a lot of people on my team say, please don't do any more football references, stopping right there. But I think you get the idea, right? We're not starting at zero. So I'll pass that. Paul, did you have anything else, or were you going to pass that over to Trad?
Yeah, I think pass it over to Trad.
Great.
Thanks, Paul. Maureen didn't want to tell you guys that she's a Michigan Wolverines fan, so I'll keep that on
Go
the
blue.
down.
Go blue.
Yeah. So we touched on this for a minute earlier, right? But AI that can't see into your different systems is making limited decision making. That's really it. I was talking to an ops leader the other day, and she coined it as saying, blind AI is bad AI. And we really like that. So again, we've put a ton of work into trying to help everyone be ready to leverage all of the business critical data you have in System Surveyor. And I had one other example that I was talking to someone at a beverage company that I'm sure a lot of people on this call would love. And it was on operations too, right? They had an expansion where they're trying to put in a new building, do the walk, do a ton of work, get everything from their basic site survey drawings that's all ready into their kind of ERP, right? To prep the build out of the job. They actually had AI in that ERP that kind of said, hey, looks good, systems are compatible, but it wasn't connected to their downstream inventory. One of the products they needed was out, nothing was flagged. They put the order through, and it took like 3 days because people are working through tasks, right? For somebody on the ordering team to say, hey, we actually don't have that part. If those were connected, that would have never happened. It would have been flagged immediately. So that's what we mean when we say blind AI is bad AI. But that's all I got there, Paul. So I love this slide. I think, Maureen, if you want to add something, this is her favorite too. But just start with one, right? Just have to get started. That's kind of been our motto with everything. And I think a lot of people's with the AI revolution, if you want to call it that, is just start playing with it. I'm sure a lot of you are very, very intimately familiar with the pain points you or your team see every day. Maybe you want to ask around again, but just see where things are coming up short, where it feels like things are inefficient, just start working on it. So I think that leads me to the next slide there, where we want to hear from you. We really do. I said earlier that System Surveyor is built off of customer feedback. The integration marketplace was built off of customer feedback. So please do take a second to throw down in the Q&A something you're excited about looking at. Maybe there's something that you feel we haven't looked at. Maybe if you're an end user, there's some other systems that we're not aware of. We really want to learn from you. So please throw things in there or reach out to your appropriate rep after this if you prefer to do it that way.
Yeah, I'll pick up here. I'll say one more thing about the AI. We're working with some really just every different type of company. And by the way, we are SOC 2 compliant. If anyone has ever been through SOC 2, I kind of wonder sometimes some of the upstarts in AI that say they're SOC 2 compliant. I have to sometimes scratch my head because I can tell you that it is a very, very significant thing to go through SOC 2 compliance. We made that commitment a few years ago. We get audited on it. It's not because we say we are. And then in terms of like exposing what we should with our API. So if you go to our little marketplace, right, and then Prismatic's got a connector for ChatGPT. Again, I could get myself in trouble here, like the football reference. I'm going to only go so far. Remember that it can go get what we've exposed that it can go and access right now. And we're really thoughtful about that. And so it's probably not everything. So I'm going to say that right now. But know that Prismatic does have some of those connectors. You know, we're all talking about MCPs and we're all dealing with that. And that's going to be super exciting. But, you know, if you have questions, we have the right team. We have a, you know, very sophisticated engineering team and very AI, you know, oriented and AI first. But I think we're all navigating this together. So speaking of navigating things together, I have to do a quick PSA, a couple PSAs. If you haven't really spent some time getting a briefing about what's going on with System Surveyor, we know we email you guys a lot. If you don't, before I get to Thrive, you may know that we're on the phone app now. I think this is really important to understand that it's both on iOS, on Android phones. So we're going well past sales into delivery. If you haven't tried the phone app, I strongly encourage that because it always made me sad when people print things out to go to installation. Think about how much you miss and lose there. Of course, it's always going to keep happening, or maybe someday it won't. But the ability to close the loop and have a technician or an installer go out, a lot of times they don't have iPads. They go out and they take a picture of where the camera was installed and bring that full circle. And then that is actually creating a digital as-built versus taking a printout, I don't know, checking it off, coming back, somehow getting that back. You see the full circle. The phone is a big deal. We launched that at the end of the spring. It's got a similar UI. Our reporting's come a long way. Reporting has a lot to do with what you do with APIs and integrations. If you haven't really delved into that or gone to one of Paul or our team's webinars, I think it's really worth the time investment to do it. And then this part is my significant PSA. We've been celebrating 10 years in business. We are running our first user conference in Austin, Texas. It's September 29th and 30th. So it's coming up fast. It's at the Hyatt Regency in downtown Austin. And I'm really excited about our speakers. I'm just going to hit on them a little. We've got Aaron Simpson of Stone Security. He was the CTO, founder, and president of Stone Security, which was acquired by Bearcom, but Stone runs its own brand. They have a lot of our licenses and they use it from sales through delivery. And they actually do leverage the NetSuite integration. We're so excited about that. We have the CEO of SIA, Don Erickson, and also Julaine Simpson. I hope I'm saying her Simmons. I knew I was saying that wrong. She's a VP at MC Dean, but we also have a lot of end users coming. And it's really a place to come with a growth mindset. We're going to talk a lot about AI, about workflow, about just sort of the future of where system integration is going. And I hope you'll consider checking it out. I think it's going to be an amazing event. And a whole bunch of our team and engineers and product management will be there. So it's a kind of couple day, almost like a working session. The type of people I think are here at this meeting will really benefit from being there, or someone else in your organization. So time to register. We only have so many seats. All right, with that, I think we were going to move over. Wow, we're right on time. Over into a Q&A. We have some questions. I think Trad, you are going to be our moderator.
Yeah.
Maybe you could get it started.
Yeah, got a lot of good ones. Please, guys, continue to throw them in here. I like this one. It's not a question. This person said, "Thank you for adding Android phone app." You're welcome.
All right.
Yeah. I think our product team will love to hear that. Maureen, you touched on this a little bit earlier. Somebody said, "I'm on Scale. Is API going to be available on Scale?" You want to take that?
Yeah, so you guys might know our plans. We've got Essentials. That's usually like, a couple people. And by the way, a whole bunch of people just buy System Surveyor online all the time if they're a really tiny company. In the mid-tier, we tend to have more, and SMBs use Scale. They can go month to month or annual. It's a pretty full featured plan, but the ultimate full featured plan is Enterprise. Right now, we're going to have you be on Enterprise, We don't have any, you're not paying for credits or you're not paying a different fees to Prismatic or anything.
Yeah.
But we will typically, if you're on scale and you for some reasons didn't need everything else of enterprise, we're probably gonna my account exec team, and I have some crackerjack people in that group, can work with you and price it so that you can start leveraging the API. We want you to. So we're not going to, try to, but we also want to talk about value. So don't think just because I don't seem like, on our website, we say we have a minimum of 15 licenses for enterprise. Well, we're probably not going to do it for 2, but we can find some middle ground. So we'd really love to talk with you about it. And also, just what is the right thing? Nobody wants to supersize you here. But we probably in 2027 then might bring that over into the scale plan. We're kind of proving it out, making sure we have all the right support for it. That was
Yeah.
hopefully helpful.
Good question. I like this one. Somebody said, I don't know, Paul, maybe you want to show the connectors. Are there any AI tools that you could integrate with?
Yeah, let me pull that up here. Yeah, I know there are. We have, here's, well, you have Grok, obviously, Anthropic. I mean, these are the top ones, are all the AI ones, so they know these are the popular connectors here. Anthropic, which is Claude, right? And then, Gemini, OpenAI. So there are connectors for the, at least the largest ones, and I'm sure there's, for others as well. And so, I think what Maureen was touching on too, it depends on what is exposed in the API. But it's definitely open there, and I'd encourage, I think Trad said also, to play with it, see what's available, see what OpenAI has exposed on their end too for their API,
Yeah.
and see what questions you can ask it and things like that.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul. There are a few that are wondering about D tools and a possible integration. Maureen, do you want to talk to that?
Yeah, we have a great relationship with D Tools. As many of you know, G. Paul Hess is now leading things up there, and I believe they have a new CTO. I don't want to be the reporter on that. We've always, they do some things that we really don't do. This is what this is all about, and we do some things they don't do as great. They do IDFs, and they have some really next level of I'm going to make these connectors between some of the different systems. So we have a lot of common customers. They do have 2 platforms. Again, I shouldn't probably get into their thing, SI and cloud. So we are talking with them about it. And, one thing that we've learned when we did the manufacturer partner program, I mean, just 5 or 6 years ago, we had like 1 in there, was Hanwha. Thanks, Hanwha. They saw the vision. Now we have like, I don't know, 45, 50. It's great to go make noise with them too and say that this is important to you. I think also remember, just because there's not a connector there doesn't mean that the workflow builder can't help. But we haven't set a date. We're really big on not, like under promise, over deliver. We are talking with them, and I think we all, in the spirit of it, want to get to an integration. And I think they're kind of working out a little bit, do we do it on SI or cloud, things like that. So if we want to take that offline together for whoever asked, please hit us. We'll probably follow up here by info@systemsurveyor.com. And we'd love to learn what the most important thing our team will ask is, what's the use case? What do you got? What are we trying to connect together? So whenever you can provide those insights would be great.
Yeah, I think if I can take a moment to kind of shamelessly plug the partnership program there too, exact same way, like Maureen said, our manufacturer partners, they come into us through mostly customer referrals. A lot of them reach out to us just because they're hearing from you guys. That's available now for software providers too. So we've seen a large interest in people taking advantage of signing up, getting access to the API, and building their own connectors to it. So we just reiterate, if there's platforms you guys are using very recently or all the time, please get loud about it. Please send them to info, like Maureen said, @systemsurveyor.com. We're happy to take it from there, and would love to make them a part of the program.
Yeah, two that really stand out are Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics. It's quite a bit for those who are in the integrator seat. You can see those connectors. When we did the one with the Oracle NetSuite, it's pretty special for us to find a customer who can help us with access to a sandbox in your environment. Obviously, we treat that, and we do all the right security measures. We are looking potentially for a candidate in those areas to do a little extra, but it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't prevent you from getting started. And back to Trad's one slide on the get started. Perfection is the enemy of doing anything. If that's the one, I've been working with startups, and I don't consider System Surveyor a startup, but it is the enemy of actually like getting out to the market. So now is a really great time to, what if all it did was create an opportunity in Salesforce? I mean, that stops one click because we're not having to take the survey URL and put it over into the opportunity. Because a lot of people are telling me we're trying to scale right now. I cannot have every single person know three more steps they need to take from their head and hope they follow the process. So baby steps can be really meaningful. Back in the day, when, in fact, when we started System Surveyor, we would do Zapier Connects all the time because if I were all in a room with you, I'd have you raise your hand and say how many people know what Zaps are. Well, we kind of built the beginning of our business at System Surveyor, not our product, but how we ran the business by zapping things together. This is a different level than that. I'm really excited about what the API, maybe in the I'm probably going too long here, but in the AI question will be, could you ask some questions of how many Hanwha cameras have I put on in aggregate, all the different surveys that we've done over the past year? I'm not saying that's the exact use case, but there's some really exciting different things going on there. And I also think Prismatic's going to keep coming along with AIs toward the workflow builder, so this even gets faster and better. And Paul's going, yes. So I'm glad I didn't talk out of.
Yeah, that's a big
Anything
thing
to share on that, Paul?
Yeah, it's still in progress, I think, for them. I was kind of looking forward to because that would help us build a little bit too. But that is a big. You can ask it questions now, so I don't know. I don't know if maybe that's only in the Prismatic platform, so maybe that's coming later. But that is a big push for them to do AI and basically either build them or help build them. So
yeah, good. Yeah, we're looking at that. I mean, look. We do every single thing. We pass it through the thought of how can AI help us do it faster, better, easier? There's already so many things. In fact, you guys, we have our first AI feature coming out right around the corner at the end of I hate to say dates, but the end of July, and it's exciting. I think after when that first feature comes out, it'll be like when we started System Surveyor, people would come up and be like, I wish I had this for the past 20 years. I don't know what I did before this. I think that we're going to have some game changers in that regard. There were some other little bit more sophisticated questions here, Trad, I see. We might want to take those sort of one-off to make sure we understand the context. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think so. For Cody, I'm going to have my team look at your question. I'll come back to you on that one. It's a very good question I want to ask about that system. For everyone else, Cody's asking about a VMS system. Typically with those, I'd encourage same thing with a partnership. Send them to us. Tell them to look at the program. We'd love to make them a part of it, but we'll come to you on that. The other two, I think, are project management related. What Maureen is hinting at, this new AI feature that we are going to work on, I think will answer a lot of questions there. So give us a little bit of time. I think we'll have something pretty cool to show you here in the very, very near future.
Yeah, someone on Anonymous said, with the goal of always mature our practices, what tracking metrics are on the horizon as the API integrations for project management come online? We're super excited about that area. And the phone was so essential on project management too, because, again, the ability for it to start to become a schedule. And I'm going to actually, the thing I always think about, and maybe I've just done this in other industries, is how do you close the loop? How do you, without going out of the system. And so I won't say too much more on that, but we're really excited about where project management's going. Someone raised their hand, but I need you to either chat the question or put it in the Q&A. Bassam, I think that's, if you're able to type it in, would be helpful. Either chat, because I'm not able to let you in otherwise. Trad, do you see what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I can't find that one, unfortunately, but if you do throw it in the Q&A down there, we can definitely look at it.
Yeah, so down at the bottom, it should see Q&A, and we can see those questions come in. Sorry but we can't add anyone audio right at the moment. No, it's an exciting time. I feel like, for me, I'm glad to be in the webinar. I think, you have to have a lot of belief, right? That the marketplace starts happening. We've proven that in the manufacturer. In fact, the Thrive event, just to give you a feeling, while we're completely open platform, we've always stayed true to that. Some of our sponsors for the user conference here in Austin are Motorola, Brevo, Alarm.com, Rhombus. Who else am I missing, Trav? Anyone?
Legion.
Allegiant.
Yeah.
So I think what they see is, and there's so much excitement about, how are these system design matters? Most manufacturers would tell you they all want to try to solve for system design. But when they do, it's like this. And Chris, our founder, was like, but wait, if the manufacturer gives you a design tool, it's not that it's not good. It's good. And it's actually sometimes it's deeper and better. I mean, let's just say Motorola's a Vigilon designer is awesome. Andrew Strong's going to be at our meeting. Having said that, it's not a system design. And so that's where I think people have understood that difference. So same thing we've been doing with the manufacturers. I think I might even be even more excited about the software integration marketplace. We didn't really talk a lot about the end user, but more than at least half of the attendees today are end users. So we're pretty
Mhm.
interested to understand some of your use cases. In fact, several of the end users who have bought our corporate or enterprise type plan bought it because they're doing API integrations to their own applications. So that's great. We've got Bassam's question. Will you be adding wire
Yeah,
tray or conduit in the future?
I
Trad
can.
or Paul? Yeah, can you guys?
Yeah, I can run it down. I think some what we're working on providing is for the ability for you to make those. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but we are looking forward to being able to allow you to basically customize them to what you need. So down the road here, give us a little bit of time and we'll get back to you on a specific date. There is a good question down at the bottom too. Somebody asked if Maureen knows how to respond when somebody yells OH. I'll let her take that.
I feel like, is that Ohio State? Is that a Buckeye reference?
That
Paul
that
is from
is
Columbus. What do we know, Paul?
I'm not from Columbus. My wife's from Columbus, but
Oh, right. True,
yeah.
true, true. I knew he had a connection there.
That's pretty good. If you come to Thrive, you can
Whenever
ask
we
her
do
that in
business,
person. Yeah.
Trad goes crazy because whenever we do business up in Michigan, I have to ask if they're green or blue, and but mostly we all stay friends. It's just friendly rivalries. Yeah, but please get me an anonymous attendee. I might not be prepared for that, so please let me know later, as long as it's appropriate. Well, it's been fun talking with you guys today. I think we have so much more to do here, and I think this is a very much part of a community and collaborative effort to go solve for this. Because our some people want to solve everything. We believe we're going to be the best at what we do, and we're going to integrate and take. I think software integrations and all of that is about to take to a new level. Software's changing. Obviously, AI is coming in, and we fully plan to work with you on that. Any parting thoughts, Paul or Trad?
No, I mean, we're really excited to continue to build this. Like you said, tell your favorite softwares and systems you rely on to look at our API. It's free for them to partner with us on. It only benefits you, the mutual customer. So just get loud about it. And if
That's
you
it.
don't want to do that, send them over to us.
Yeah, I think also, yeah, I'm really excited. I know this is going to help us unlock a lot and help you guys unlock a lot of things with using System Surveyor, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we're excited. Paul's role, he's going to help us take us forward on this, and it's such a key role, and Trad does from the BD side, and it all matters. We've got a lot of engineers behind that aren't here that are
Yeah.
super excited and they get fired up when they see it in use and they see what business outcome it has. So please tell us those stories. We want to hear about it. And anyways, have a great day. We're just getting started over here, and we'll take it forward. Have a good summer.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Bye.
everybody. Bye bye.